Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? I hope you're all doing well and that you're all enjoying the new year so far. And if you're watching this for the first time, my name's Marianne. I'm the owner and the counsellor at Marianne Hanson Counselling Service. I specialise in working with couples and individuals in the areas of stress, depression, low self-esteem and relationships. And I think the reason I've decided to make this video is because I think that there's a lot of videos out there that are talking about red flags. There's lots of videos that are talking about warning signs in relationships, but sometimes we don't always talk about the differences between a red flag, an amber flag and a green flag. And you've probably heard those terms as well before, but what I want to do in this video is just sort of explore those three things in a relationship so that if anyone is in different relationships, they'll be able to maybe identify some of this and relate to it. So when you first get into a relationship with someone, the key thing really is, to me, it's the giving yourself enough time to get to know that person, because the courtship period or the dating period, or getting to know someone at first is really crucial. And I think for lots of people, they don't give themselves enough time to get to know that person, because when you are, say you meet someone and you've got all these sayings out there, love at first sight, and we were instantly attracted to each other, and why should we wait if we want to have sex? Or there's so many reasons for people to speed things up, whirlwind romance where someone proposes after 2 weeks, or people say, I knew I was going to marry this person the minute I saw them, and we didn't want to wait, life's too short, we wanted to move in after a week. There's nothing wrong with any of that, but you have to think that the less time you get to know a person, the more you've got to find out once you do make those decisions. So if you marry someone quickly, you haven't had time to get to know them as much. If you move in with someone quickly, and it doesn't mean it doesn't work out either. But what I want to talk about is some green flags, some amber flags and red flags. I'm going to start with the amber ones. So an amber flag just means that there are questions in regards to the person, but they're not enough for you to say this is a red flag, I've got to leave or break up with the person. But also you're not giving the green light either, because there's still a question mark. So I've got 3 in this category, and the first one is that this person doesn't introduce you to anyone within their life. So if you're dating someone for a certain period of time and you've never met their friends, you've never met any of their family, in fact they actively avoid you meeting anyone connected with them, then you have to assume that there's a reason behind that. And sometimes the reason is that they're not sure that they really want to be in a relationship with you or not, so they're just taking their time. But another reason could be because they might have other partners, and so they don't want obviously that secret to come out. Or it could also just be that they have other things to hide, so maybe they've told you things and they're not the truth. So for whatever reason, there's an expectation that you're going to at least meet someone within that person's circle, if you're important to them, but also if you're dating them. I've been in relationships, I've been in probably one relationship where I didn't meet, 1 or 2 where I didn't meet the parents, and I suppose that's a bigger deal as well. But I don't think I've ever been in a relationship where I've never met someone's friends, or at least 1 or 2 members of their family. And I think it just makes a difference, because those people then know who you are, and that person is saying that, within your life, that you're an important person. So another one is that there's some personality traits about this person that you're unsure about. So as I said, they're not red flags because they're not showing obvious, direct personality traits, which mean you're just going to run a mile, but they're also not showing certain things which would say, right, yes, this is 100% the one for me, sort of thing. It's just some things which you're not sure about, and that's why it's an amber flag. And I think sometimes people don't take time to reflect and take stock of, okay, I'm not sure about this person, or I'm not sure about this. I think we're just taught to ignore our instincts a lot of the time, but your instincts are the thing that is going to help you in lots of situations, including relationships. If your gut instinct is telling you something, then you can act on it. And acting on it might just be you ask a few more questions. Acting on it might be that you speak to someone's brother or sister or their family member and say to them, has this person always been so short-tempered? Or, I know that you know this person quite well. what would you say about this? There's nothing wrong with doing that. I personally don't think there's anything wrong, because if you're going to end up committing to someone for a long period of time, moving in with them, getting married to them, then isn't it better that you find out these things earlier than like later? And the final one in this category is that someone is secretive, and that's not around not introducing you to people. That is just that their pattern or their mode of behaviour is secretive. So maybe they are not ever, I'm not saying people have to let you see their phone, but if someone's always going outside, I've dated someone once where every single phone call they took, we'd be sitting on the sofa, and they wouldn't even go into the kitchen in my house. I remember this, they would go outside. Now if someone is actually having to leave the house and go outside to take a phone call, every single phone call they're getting, that's not good. That's not a good sign. So to me, that would be an amber flag. It's not a red flag because you can't prove what's actually happening, but it's definitely not a green flag either. It's an amber flag to me. And also secretive, just in sense of just lots of things. Maybe they're having lots of parcels being delivered and you never know what's in them, or maybe they're always going off for weekends or going off to places, never telling you where they are. They're switching their phone off a lot of the time. So there's lots of these which could be categorised as red flags to some people. To me, they're amber flags until you get to the bottom of it, but they're still suspicious. So red flags are, I'm just going to go, I don't want this video to go on forever. One of the red flags is someone with an aggressive temper towards others or towards you. So a lot of times in some relationships, people say, well, he's horrible towards strangers, he's a violent person, or he gets aggressive towards this person, but not me. And I've heard this so many times amongst friends, amongst people I've counselled, where they say, he treats me really well. But what you have to think about is, just because someone is being nice to you, if they're being horrible to the rest of the world, that is still their character. So for me personally, violence is in my deal breakers. If someone is aggressive, violent, hot-tempered, just bad company because they're always negative, that is just ruling that person out. I dated someone once actually who, you're just walking with this person and you're constantly on edge, because everyone that looks in their direction, what are they looking? It's like he was looking this person for a fight all the time, or just, I felt I couldn't relax around them because they were just so like highly strung. So for me, that's a red flag, because just because they're not being like that with you, that is part of their character and their personality. So eventually that is going to translate itself, and it could end up becoming towards you. Someone who's controlling, so controlling behaviour, that's a definite red flag. For some women and some men, they believe that someone who gets jealous or wants to keep them to themselves, or someone who is constantly saying, I don't want you to spend any time with anyone else. Some people actually would regard that as being a good thing, because they say, oh, he loves me, or she cares about me, she doesn't want me around anyone else. That is not like someone who cares about you, because if you care about someone, then you trust their decisions, and you it's not even that you allow freedom. Freedom is not like something you have to beg for, or it's not a luxury. In a relationship, you are free to talk to who you want to talk to and to go where you want to go. So if someone is controlling, especially if it's friends and family, they're saying they don't want you to spend time with your friends and family, that's a control element, and that is a big red flag. Love bombing and just doing everything really fast. I've talked about that in the amber flags, where someone meets you and then for the first time, it's like after the second day or the second week, will you marry me? Or let's move in together after like 2 weeks, or, I love you after a day. These things might sound romantic because I think they're hyped up to be romance. They're not realistic and not natural. Someone to ask you to marry them after a week is, if you think about it, is illogical and irrational. Because it's just, and I think we need to be looking at it as being a potential red flag. For me, it would be a red flag. If someone's telling me they love me when they don't even know me at all, that is just going to make me run. If someone's saying to me, can you marry me, after like a week or 2 weeks or even a month, that is just, I think I'd find it I'd feel that person is either obsessive in some way, or that person is desperate in some way, or that person is just, I don't know, but for me that's an off-putting thing. It could also be a type of control. So if someone is saying, I want to marry you, it's to keep you with them because they know what's to come. And normally in those situations, not always, they turn into quite domestic violence relationships because that person wants to trap you very suddenly. So they're doing all this love bombing, telling you how wonderful you are, showering you, doing so much things within the first week or the first month, which normally would happen maybe within 6 months to a year, because they just want to like trap you and tie you down so that then when you do marry them, that's when everything comes out, their real character. So it's just something really that I would say is a red flag. Also isolation, which we've talked about. Cheating is a red flag. If someone's cheating on you multiple times and they're doing that quite soon into the relationship and you sort of find out that they're cheating, but then they keep reeling you back in, but then they're doing it again. And also if they're cheating in a way that's obvious, so they're leaving receipts around for the hotels they've stayed in, or they're intentionally leaving their phone unlocked and then going for a sleep, and then they know that their girlfriends are going to be phoning and stuff. If they're doing stuff intentionally where they don't even care if they get caught, that's a red flag, because what that's saying is that they're putting it back on you. Okay, what are you going to do about it? And then they feel so good about themselves, because there's a lot of narcissists out there that think no matter what I do to this person, they're not going to leave. So it's like a test. So it's a game, and that's the last one on here, which is mind games. So someone who is playing mind games with you is a red flag. You're never going to win. If someone is a narcissist and they're determined to mess up your life, they're determined to get a buzz from playing games with you. It's like a sadistic thing. So the more you do, or whatever you respond with, is fun to them. It's a challenge. You're never ever going to win with a narcissist. I've made a video on here which is using the broken record approach with a narcissist. You might want to check that out. The point is, there's no point in you going in there and saying you're going to change this person, or if I do this, then this will work, or that. It's not going to work, because it's not about you. The whole point of a narcissist is it's about them. So you have to just run. You have to just leave that relationship. So green flags, I'll just talk through them briefly. Someone who's attentive to your needs, someone who respects you, someone who gives you the freedom to be yourself and to do what you need to do in your life, someone who is a good communicator, introduces you to the people in their life. So this is a person who's saying, I respect you because that's the type of person I am. That's my character, to show you respect. I communicate if something bothers me. I communicate with you in an honest way, a transparent way. This is the type of person. I've dated a guy, I remember, one of my exes. We went on a date, and then it was just really nice. We talked about things like marriage. We talked about, do you want kids? We talked about lots of things. And then on the second date, we talked again, and then this person was making a lot of efforts to come to see me, to like show me where they live as well, because it was long distance. And I think by about the third or fourth date, this person asked me to be their girlfriend. And yeah, people still do that. People make it official by actually saying it. I know that people, when I tell that story, people say, oh, no one does that, you just know. And I don't. I personally, unless someone is saying it in words to me, I want us to be exclusive, or I want you to be my girlfriend. I'm not going to assume. You can't assume these days. You can't just assume because they're doing all the right things that means you're in a relationship, because it doesn't work like that. So with this person, I just felt the respect from the person. Even when I met their friends, they were respectful. They introduced me as their girlfriend. Even when, I had bags, they would carry my bags for me, even though I didn't ask. Just lots of things showing respect, giving attention, being attention to someone's needs. Saying to someone, honey, do you need to lie down for a little bit? I'll take over. I'll look after the kids. Communicating if they're not happy. That is, for me, if someone is got enough confidence, then they're going to say, do you know what, you're wrong. I don't agree with what you've said there. But it's not going to become verbally aggressive. It's not going to be turned into an argument. It's not going to get physical. But there's nothing wrong with disagreeing with someone. But you need to be a good communicator and know how to do that. Someone introducing you to people in their life, that is giving you a massive sign that they want you to be around. I'm not saying it happens all the time. Some people will introduce you to their mum or their parents, and they will have lots of other girlfriends or boyfriends, and they'll be introducing them as well. So I'm not saying on its own that just means they want you in their life, but to me it's a good sign. In most cases, people are only really going to do that if you're someone they want to stay around. So I just think we need to just be more, evaluate really and review, like red flags, green flags, amber flags. Just take your time. For me, I think time, when it comes to a relationship, it doesn't matter if it's 5 years that you have to get to know someone. It doesn't matter if it's, 3 years before you get a proposal. It doesn't matter if you don't move in together till 2 years. I'm not saying you're ever going to know everything about someone anyway, but I just think there's a lot of people these days that are in a rush to like speed things up. But you get there, then you speed everything up, and then you think, oh, this isn't the person I thought they were. This isn't the marriage I thought it was going to be. Oh, I didn't know that about this person. That's because of time. You didn't give yourself enough time. So for me, it's about just enjoying the seasons, enjoying. For the best part of a relationship for me, I can only say me, is the dating period when you first getting to know each other, and the period then where you become comfortable with the person, where a lot of things don't matter. They just love you for you. They're unconditional. But to get to that stage, I think takes a long time. So I hope you found this video useful. If you have, feel free to share it with others. Feel free to leave your comments. I'd love to know what you think. And if you're interested in this video and videos similar to this, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you all soon. Bye.